Welcome to Kendi Recaps. Please follow us on this journey as we try to bring you the best movie recaps on YouTube. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel. You can leave a like or a comment on any of the videos that you like, as this would mean so much to us. This is the full recap of The Lost City of Z, which was released back in 2016. We begin in 1905 when a young British officer called Percy Fawcett is participating in a stag hunt on an Irish baronial estate at a British Army barracks for the benefit of the visiting Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. At the event, his wife Nina and his son Jack are present to witness him bring the trophy. With a group of other officers, they ride their horses in chase of a deer that runs off into a forest where there's no path. A skilled horseman and marksman, Percy manages to forge a path through and he shoots down the stag swiftly, but later, he is snubbed at the after-hunt party. A year later, as Fawcett is inspecting officers loading artillery onto a military truck, two officers come and tell him that he has been ordered to go to London to meet with officials of the Royal Geographical Society, the RGS. While at the meeting, the officials tell him that the governments of Bolivia and Brazil are nearly at war over the location of their mutual boundary and its direct effect on the region's extremely lucrative rubber trade, and have asked the British government to survey it. Fawcett agrees to lead the survey party to restore his family's good name. Moments later, as Fawcett is talking to his wife Nina, she reveals to him that she is pregnant and that they should be expecting another child while he is gone. She also asks him not to be sad about it. Flash forward to April 1906. Percy Fawcett is aboard a ship to Brazil to start on his survey work as requested by the Royal Geographical Society when he meets Corporal Henry Costin, who has knowledge of the Amazon rainforest. The two form a bond as Fawcett tells him that his reputation as a man rests entirely on their success. Soon they start their trek into the Amazon jungle and find themselves at a live opera show taking place at a large rubber plantation owned by the Portuguese nobleman called Baron. Later, the two meet Lance Corporal Arthur Manley, who tells them that the British government advises against further exploration. Fawcett refuses to back down and asks Corporal Manley to write back a telegram to the British government telling them that they will not stand down and will proceed as planned. Later, Fawcett finally meets with the Portuguese nobleman Baron and asks him for a native guide who knows the jungle very well as a few of his good men to accompany him on his journey, and in return, he promises the nobleman very fair treatment from the British government. The Baron gives him several guides and an Amazonian scout. As they are sailing upstream on a raft, they come across an abandoned German boat with a dead person in it acting as bait. As the men call out to the man on the boat asking if he is German, they are attacked by native savage Indians with bows and arrows that come raining down on them. One of the arrows hits one of the guides and he falls in the water. Fawcett quickly reacts by jumping into the water to save him, but in the process, he gets trapped in a fishing net and he starts to drown. Mr. Costin rushes for a knife and cuts down the net, hence rescuing Fawcett. They manage to survive the attack despite having lost one of the guides. Later, as they push the raft for a daybreak, the native Amazonian scout tells Fawcett that the river is always dangerous. He adds that there are many weeks to go until they reach their destination. He also tells him stories about a jungle city full of gold and maize. The Amazonian adds that the city was once full of people, but Fawcett dismisses such stories as insane ravings. Weeks later, Fawcett, with the other several guides, reach the end of the river, which finally marks a huge success in their exploration. In the process of excitement, the Amazonian scout escapes into the jungle and never to be seen again. Mr. Costin runs into the water with absolute joy while shouting that no one has ever been there before. Later, as Fawcett explores the jungle surrounding the river, he discovers highly advanced ancient broken pottery and some small stone statues that convince him of the veracity of the Amazonian scout's story. He adds that the Amazonian was right when he said no white man has ever been in this place before. Later, Fawcett and Mr. Costin finally leave the Amazon and head back to England. On his arrival back in England, Fawcett is praised upon his return as a huge mass of people clap and wave upon his appearance. Among the crowd is his wife Nina, who reveals to him that she has given birth to their second son. If you have followed the story this far, then you might as well subscribe. It would mean so much to us. A few days later, Fawcett meets with the renowned biologist James Murray, who agrees to back Fawcett's second expedition into the Amazon to find what Fawcett calls the Lost City of Z. This happens after his wife Nina discovers a conquistador text which tells of a city deep in the Amazonian jungle. Later, when Fawcett attempts to convince the members of the RGS to back the expedition, he is publicly ridiculed. Nevertheless, the RGS backs the expedition to further exploration of the Amazon basin. Before he can leave, Fawcett falls out with his wife when he dismisses her request to join him in the jungle. He adds that the living in jungle requires years and years of training and it is no place for a woman. Later, in 1912, while on the second expedition, Fawcett's party sails once again on the same river they navigated earlier on. However, his team is ambushed and attacked again by the savage native Amazon Indians. In a different turn of events, Fawcett manages to make peace with them, of which they allow him and his team to visit their native Indian village. At this village, Fawcett meets with the village chief, who he exchanges gifts with in order to earn his trust. He asks the village chief if he knows about a city once full of gold and many people. The chief tells him he has heard stories about it, but the people who know more about it are the other tribes deep in the Amazon. He warns them that these tribes are not so welcoming like they are and that they will kill them. Meanwhile, Murray, unfamiliar with the rigors of the deep jungle, slows the party down significantly when he suffers a leg injury which becomes severely infected. Fawcett sends him off with a native guide and the group's last pack animal to find aid. Later, Fawcett's team are forced to abandon the expedition after discovering that Murray poured paraffin on their remaining supplies. Sometime later, Murray survives and, in front of the RGS trustees, accuses Fawcett of abandoning him in the jungle and demands an apology from him. Fawcett dismisses such complaints, saying that they gave him their last remaining pack animal to find aid, but instead he poured paraffin in their remaining supplies. Fawcett instead apologizes to his friends, Mr. Costin and Corporal Manley, saying it was a foul idea for him to bring Murray along with them. Fawcett elects to resign from the society rather than apologize, and he walks out of the room. Years later, the First World War breaks out in Europe. Jack confronts his father, telling him he is going to abandon them again to fight the war. When Jack shouts at his father, telling him he is a failure, he slaps him and then proceeds to France to fight on the battlefield. War, Corporal Manley dies in the trenches at the Battle of the Somme, and Fawcett is temporarily blinded in a chlorine gas attack, whilst leading an over-the-top charge. Later, Nina and the children come to visit their blinded father in hospital, where Fawcett's eldest son, Jack, who had long accused Fawcett of abandoning the family, reconciles with his father as he recovers. Flash forward to 1923, Fawcett is living in obscurity in England. During this period, the North American interest in exploring the Amazon has reached fever pitch, primarily due to Fawcett's stories of the Lost City. John D. Rockefeller Jr. and a consortium of U.S. newspapers finance a new expedition by Fawcett. The RGS funds the expedition at the last moment to maintain British pride. Meanwhile, Fawcett tries to invite Mr. Costin, but he declines, saying that he now has a family to take care of. Beats later, Fawcett and his son attend a press conference where they reveal that they intend to go alone to the Amazon this time. They suggest that they will be traveling as light as they can for up to 3 years in order to find the lost city. Later, Fawcett shows Sir John Scott Kelty a compass, informing Kelty that should he find the lost city, the compass will be sent back to England as a sign of his success. Days later, Fawcett and Jack load their luggage and supplies onto a truck as they finally say their last goodbyes to their family. They then embark on a journey back to Brazil into the Amazonia, not knowing that this could be the last time they'd see their family forever. On their way to the harbor, they are waved off by many supporters and followers of their exploration. Soon they reach the Amazon, where we see Jack and his father, Fawcett, paddling the boat along the same river we've seen earlier on in the film in the first and second expedition. Along the way they are joined by other adventurers who accompany them on their expedition through the jungle, but only for a certain distance, where Fawcett and Jack cover the rest of the journey alone. During this time, they meet the first tribe of Indians, who are welcoming and hospitable. They entertain them, and later, they even take several pictures with them, not knowing they'll be the last pictures they'd ever take. Beats later, as Fawcett and Jack forge their way deeper into the Amazon, they are ambushed and attacked by a tribe of hostile natives with bows, arrows and spears.
Stop. Stay calm.
They try to escape by running for their lives as they are being chased by the hostiles, only to be ambushed again by another tribe on the other side of the hill. This second tribe gives the Fawcetts a fair hearing at the village meeting, but are puzzled by them, noticing that their spirits aren't wholly of their own world but also not wholly of the Amazon. They declare that the spirits of the Fawcett's must belong somewhere and they will help them find their rightful place. Fawcett and Jack are drugged heavily during a tribe ceremony and then carried away never to be seen again. What happens or what happened to them is left as a mystery. Some years later, Fawcett's wife Nina meets with Kelty at the RGS, claiming she has heard that Fawcett and Jack are still alive and are living among tribespeople. Nina opens her purse to give Kelty the compass Fawcett had promised to send if he had found the lost city. As Nina leaves, her reflection in a mirror shows her walking out into what looks like the Amazonian jungle. The end. Thank you for watching. If you liked this recap, please give it a thumbs up or leave a comment in the comments section below. Please don't forget to subscribe as we are uploading a new video right now. Like, literally, right now. You don't believe it? Well, check for yourself. Thank you.